Why, hello. Welcome to another video. Welcome to the Rosy Life. Thank you for being here. We're here to free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love. So today we're going to have a very, very important talk. This video is life-changing. And I can't even underscore that statement enough. This video will change your entire life. We're going to talk about something that I know you've heard of, and that you say it, and that many, many teachers say it, but it gets mulled over. And it is actually the key. It's the key to everything, the key to having anything and everything you want. And you've probably heard it in so many different ways already that it goes in one ear out the other. But what I have become increasingly aware of is the importance of the understanding of this spiritual understanding, not logical understanding, the acceptance of this one truth. And you can call it a foundational truth that without it is what causes so much emotional, like anguish or stress or frustration, leaving you feeling stuck in your head, logic, all of those things. So I wanted to make this video without my wise board, without props, because I want your undivided 100% attention to what I'm about to say to all of you. And I encourage you to bookmark this video to come back and listen to as many times as it takes. Let me put it that way. As many times as it takes, as it helps you, because you will be moved in this video. And you will have this spiritual understanding like never before with what I'm about to share with you. Because after working with, but many of you may know, some of you may not know, if you're new to my channel, welcome, by the way. I love you guys so much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the videos. And I love all your comments and your support and your love. It's so wonderful. And thank you. But many of you know I was a former psychotherapist for over a decade. And so many people came in with so many stories. Different walks of life, different backgrounds, religions, cultures, races, all kinds of stuff, right? And it really was a constant struggle. I recently had a former client that became a friend of mine who reached out and asked for a referral for marriage counselors and in another state that I worked in, and I gave her a couple of people that I'm still in touch with that I know, right? But it kind of reminded me of, even in counseling, when I would work with couples. And by the way, most of the people that I've known and I know now, they don't want to work with couples anymore because they always were, that was always considered to be a very difficult client to have, to work with a couple. And for me, I'd be like, sign me up. I want those. Give me those. I want to work with them. Those were the ones that I wanted to work with, all the difficult ones. Because to me, they weren't difficult. They were just not listening to each other. And the thing is that even with the couple counseling, that they would go in there fighting to be right, fighting to be heard, fighting to be seen, fighting to be understood with a disguise of, I want to come to a solution, right? But really what they were wanting was to be right and to be heard. And how do I get you to see it my way? How do I get what I want from you? And that was the premise. So always so as a therapist with them, I would bring them back to themselves, that focusing on themselves, what is it that they wanted? And what were they telling themselves is why they didn't get it. And I'm saying all this because it's that foundation of what you want. And just like I did in therapy and like what I do in coaching now, right, is what is it that you want? And I've said this before in other videos, and that one simple question, right, it breaks everything down. It shatters all other questions. It shatters like the seeking, the validation, the wondering, the where is it, but what about this? What does that mean? Why did they say this? Why is this happening? It shatters watching millions of videos about different topics when you ask yourself this one simple question: what is it that I want? However, the foundational truth that I want to share with you and talk about in this video is not that question. That's a good question that always brings you back to you. And it eliminates all fears, all drama, all issues, everything. It's just, what do I want? But the foundational truth that you've heard, and you've heard it in many ways, is that everything you want, desire, wish for, hope for, dream of, is already yours. That I am everything that I desire to be right now. All of it. I already am all of it. Or, AKA, creation is finished. And that's why I say you guys have heard this many, many times. You've heard many teachers talk about it, right? However, even today, I have like several videos that I already have outlined that came to me this morning that I want to make for you guys. And my intention was to make a different video, and every single topic that I have lined up for a video, it's amazing, and you guys are going to love all those videos that are coming. But I don't care if you are understanding revision, if you understand it on any level. I don't care what level of it you understand it on. If you are understanding affirmations, if you're knowing how to make the perfect imaginal scene, if you're trying to think of it, whatever technique, let's say, or whatever you desire, whether it's love or money or health or things, the number one reason that I'm seeing over and over again, the number one reason why I see people struggle with understanding revision, understanding techniques, understanding that they can have whatever they want, and they're frustrated because they said, I've been doing the quote technique for X amount of time, right? Or they're trying to work on their self-concept. They're like, well, I already have a perfect self-concept. And like, well, if that was the cure of it all, then I should have had my stuff by now, because I freaking love myself and everything's freaking amazing, right? I've changed my story. I've done sats. I've meditated. I've done all this stuff. And then the number one thing that I see over and over again, and this, you guys, this was me too, okay, was that there is this lack of awareness. There's an awareness of it, okay, but it's like a lack of spiritual understanding. Notice I said spiritual understanding, not logical, intellectual, evidential senses understanding, okay? A spiritual understanding that anything you want Anything you can think of, anything is already yours, and you are already it. I am already everything I can desire. I am already it. Whatever you're assuming or declaring yourself to be, whatever you're choosing, it's already true. It's already truth. It's already done. In other words, there's a version of you right now living it in this moment. Living it. I was reading a part of Neville Goddard's Pruning, Shears, or Revision. And in there, in the lecture, he talks about how when people hear the story of the Garden of Eden, they think of that man was put into the Garden of Eden 1,000 years ago to do what he would like to do in the garden, right? To rearrange it and whatever. And that most people hear that story and they just assume that happened 1,000 years ago. They assume that it was 1,000 years ago. And it's not, he says. He says that is happening right now, that you are in the Garden of Eden right now. And the garden is your mind. It is your beautiful, wonderful imagination. That is what the garden is. It's you. Your mind is a garden, and you get to rearrange it and imagine and assume whatever you want in it. And that garden is Christ mind. It's God. That is where you can imagine anything. Because if you open your eyes and look around the room you're in or where you're located, you're limited to what you can see. You're limited. But the moment you close your eyes, or you just kind of go off into that blank air, and you can begin imagining millions, thousands of different things and scenarios and conversations and all kinds of stuff. Why? Do you see? Because that is the garden. All of that beautiful imagination, that is the garden. And that is where you are. You are in the Garden of Eden. You're unlimited. That didn't happen 1,000 years ago. It's happening right now. So that's like the metaphysical representation of the Garden of Eden, as Neville Goddard talks about in his lecture. Right? But why I'm saying all this is it's priming your own self with the foundational truth, the rock, right? The house is built on a rock. When a house is built on the rock, well, what's the rock? That is you. That is your understanding, spiritual understanding of that you are all that is, that you are one with that God in you, source in you, that Christ consciousness in you, and that you have the ability to see anything and everything the way you want it. Why though? Why? This is the question that most people don't even get to. They just say, creation's finished. Everything you want is already done. So just assume it. And you'll manifest stuff like that, right? And it's kind of like mulled over. Like it's already done. It's already done. It's done. Creation's finished. It's already done, right? But let's just take a moment right now. And I encourage you to take many moments like this about this same thing. That I am already everything I desire to be right now. All versions of me exist in all realities right now. Everything I want, I am already it. It's already true. It's already there. I'm not creating it. I'm not making it happen. When you have this understanding that everything you want, you already are everything you desire, that is why it becomes simple to choose. So again, one of the videos that I'm coming up with soon, I'll be talking about Neville's revision, but in a different way. But that's not what this video is about. It feels like like a client told me earlier, like you're gaslighting yourself with imagining something that your eyes can't see. And then you feel like you have to impress your subconscious mind, that you have to brainwash yourself, convince yourself that you have to feel something, you got to do something in order to align to that desire. That you have to, there's work to be done to align to that thing you want. Otherwise, you can't have it, right? It's already done, meaning you already it. You don't have to align any more to it than you are right now. You are already it. You're already aligned to all of it because it's already true. So since it's already true, there's no work to be done. Until you have that acceptance that everything you want, you already are, that it's already true, unless you accept that as true, you'll continue to struggle and feel anxious and seek for validation. You'll look for another technique. You'll scratch your head wondering why this doesn't make sense, because it's an acceptance of truth. Truth, remember, doesn't need to be felt. Truth doesn't have to be believed in. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to feel into it. Truth is the truth. It's like that Lone Ranger cowboy who's a badass. It's like the truth stands on its own. The truth is any assumption that you declare is truth. When you understand that everything you want is, you already are it, it's already true, everything you want is already true. Do you see how easier it is to know that when you choose an identity, you choose to be something, whatever it is, you now see that I can choose because I already am all of it. I'm just choosing from all of it. And that question that comes up, like, well, how do I know it's already true? How do I know I'm already everything, right? That is the truth. And remember, the truth doesn't need you to know it, doesn't need you to understand it with your intellectual mind. It's the truth. And you're accepting the truth. In other words, you're assuming that to be true for you, for yourself, because you can't do it for anyone else. You're doing it for yourself. You assume that it's already true, that everything that I could possibly want, I already am it, I already have it. That's an assumption. And remember, assumptions are, you make assumptions all day long. You know, while I'm talking to clients on the calls, I'm like, you just made a bunch of assumptions right now. You just literally made a bunch of assumptions. And by the way, most of the time they're negative assumptions. Oh, that means this. Oh, that means that. Oh, that means that. No. Do you see? If you can make all these negative assumptions about what you think is happening, those are all assumptions and you don't question them. You make them so fast, it'll make your head spin if I pointed them all out to you in a call. You're making assumptions all day long about what the weather means, about what this means and that means. And you're like, oh, that means this. Oh, this means this. You're making assumptions all day long. And then when I say, assume what you want is already true, you're just like, can you tell me how to do that? What book should I read to learn how to assume? Is there another book on how to accept an assumption? Can you do step by step? And one of my favorites, can you give me practical, logical tips on how to assume? Someone actually just commented this on another video. And I get it, because you're used to using your logical understanding, and you're forgetting that you're making assumptions all day long. If someone doesn't call you right away, you're assuming the worst case scenario. If you don't get the package in the mail at a certain day and time, you're assuming that something went wrong. If somebody looks at you a certain way on the street, you're assuming what they're thinking. You're doing it all day long. You're assuming stuff all day long. You're assuming that you're not validated, that you're not loved, that you're not wanted, that you're not appreciated, that no one cares about you, that you're not seen, that no one wants to help you, that there's no one in the world, that no one loves. You're assuming all the worst case shit all day long with no question. You're trigger happy with your negative assumptions all day long. And then I say, assume what you want is yours, and you say, how? 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 How do I assume? You're forgetting that you already do this all day long. And then you make up, well, it's easier to assume something negative, and then you start fighting. You start defending why one's easier than the other, and then you wonder why one's easier than the other. So you see, instead of just going ahead and assume it anyway, assume what you want is already yours. That's why Neville Goddard said, dare to assume that it is already done. Dare to assume. And funny, I was watching some Star Wars Lego video game, and there you've heard this, right? The higher the risk, the higher the reward. The higher the risk of your assumption, I dare you to assume. That's what Neville was saying, right? The higher the risk in your assumption, the higher the reward. You're assuming all day long anyway. However, what gives you that foundational rock to build your assumption on is to know and assume and accept that you already are everything you can imagine, wish, or desire to be right now. That's the assumption you want to take home all the way to the bank. That's the assumption you want to hold on to. I am already everything I desire to be. It's already true. And I don't have to feel it. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to get validation that it's true. I don't have to read books to confirm that it's true. I don't need success stories of practical tips and steps and tricks on how to make it believe myself that it's true. I don't have to impress my subconscious mind that it's true. I don't have to do anything, because the truth doesn't need me to do any of it, because it's already true. It's that lone badass ranger that says, I got this. It's already true. I already am everything I desire to be. It's all already true. And I'm going to declare it because it's true. I'm not going to affirm it and declare it to try to convince myself that it's true. I declare it because it is true. And no matter if I feel it, no matter if I believe it or not, I'm going to declare it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and declare that I am everything that I could possibly want to be. I'm just going to declare that. That's my rock. That's what I lean on. That's spiritual understanding. When you allow yourself to accept that as your truth with no evidence, from there, now you understand why you can revise something, because it's all already true. Now you know why you can imagine something and choose a different version of you that's with your SP, a different version of you that's in the body you want, a version of you that has the money you want, because now you get it, that it's already true. Without that, I'm sure it's clear by now why those that don't accept that as true, why they're frustrated, anxious, worried, checking. They're still trying to convince themselves, hope that it's true. I hope it works. Contemplate on that. Remind yourself of that often. It's all already true. Everything that I want is already mine. It's already true. I'm just choosing from all that I am. I am that garden. It's now. I am in the Garden of Eden. It's now. Even Neville said it. Neville was reminding us in that lecture that things didn't happen 1,000 years ago, that it's only now, that it's happening right now. That those stories that you hear, if Bible, scripture, or history, or whatever, right? It doesn't matter if is it real or not. It's all real. It's all up for grabs. It's all happening now. No matter what timeline, no matter what age or whatever, it's all happening right now. All of it. It's now. And it's already true. All right, my loves. I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments. Thank you again for subscribing. Thank you for liking the video. And remember to come back to this over and over again, because this is powerful and it will change your life. Bye.